there, this is Data, and welcome to the TNA Post Show. As always, I'm joined by my co-host. He is the star of the show, and the one and only Burt Maclin.
How's it going?
It's going good. I was gonna say your other part, the other half of your title, but then I remember it's still very sensitive subject to you because of Wesley.
Thank you. It needs time to heal that wound. That wound needs to heal.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. All right. Let's kick things off talking about Explosion. So Explosion this week was back to 2-match format. Thank God. You know, it needs to stay in the 2-match format. So it kicked off with Steve Maclin versus Scion. I haven't seen Scion. Apparently he was in NXT. Apparently he was in WWE for 5 years. He's actually pretty good. I would not mind a TNA signing him. He gave Maclin a run for his money, I would say.
Our good friend Io filled me in on him, which I'm very thankful for. Yeah, he was in NXT. And yeah, the first thing I thought of watching this match was that was the farthest thing from a squash match. You know, we like to talk about enhancement matches on the show and stuff. But, like, they gave him a lot. Like, this was if anything, this was, like, the less squashiest of, if you want to call it them, you know, because really they don't put most of the time competitive matches on you know, they usually are enhancement matches, especially tonight. The main event, I think, was more of that style of match. But this match, I don't know, they gave Zion a lot, and it makes me think that they see something in him and or maybe want to bring him in or keep him around. You know, I would like that.
Yeah, same. Zion was really good. I hope to see more of him in TNA.
Because these are always the kind of signings TNA should go for.
I agree. We got Around the Ring with Gia Miller, and this her special guest is Chade Chong. He's taller than Steve. You ain't squashing a tall dude like him. I didn't even notice that he was taller than Steve Maclin.
He looked it. He maybe wasn't as like thick as Steve Maclin, but he looked very tall.
I gotta go back and rewatch it because I didn't notice he was so taller than Steve Maclin. All right, so basically Jade is just talking about how she's the mother of the broadcast team and how she's into colors now. She's a sneakerhead. Are you a sneakerhead?
I've started to buy shoes lately. Yes, I have. So I appreciate that.
I don't think I'm much of a sneakerhead. I mean, I do buy shoes, but it's mostly like workout shoes. I don't really have like tennis shoes like that. You know, my because of work, I wear business casual, so a lot of my shoes are like little dress shoes. So I'm not a sneakerhead, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have a few. I have some sneakers.
All right, we get a first class promo, and this is your typical first class promo. You know, AJ Francis killing it on the mic like he always does. And then this leads into First Class versus Rhino and Sami Callihan. As you mentioned earlier, this was just an enhancement match for First Class to keep their claim as being undefeated. And of course, you know, now that we know they're going after the tag titles, they need to establish themselves more as a tag team, even though they had been tag teaming, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're serious. Huh?
Oh, no. I really liked this because at first I was a little worried when they took the title off AJ Francis. It's like, oh no, like what are they gonna have him doing? So now that they're firmly establishing themselves. And I think Gia said it during the match that they need to get a few more wins before they can really go after the tag team titles. And she also was like constantly going after them on commentary for cheating. It was hilarious. But yeah, they won tonight, and I'm glad that it seems like they're in the tag team title picture. And then, obviously, last week, Rich Swann alluded to that he would be a Grand Slam champ. It's the only belt he hasn't won, so I like this.
Yeah,
and obviously, the two-match format.
Yeah, I really hope they keep the 2-match format. I don't know why they take it away and they bring it back. But I'm really happy First Class has entered the tag team division. You and I have talked about this. You and I have said from the beginning that they should have entered the tag team division, and now it's time that they did. I definitely would give First Class a run with the tag titles. Don't get me wrong, I like ABC, but I think ABC will be okay without the tag titles. First Class should win those tag titles.
You know, I could actually say, because you could actually make a case that all related to, you know, in AEW, there's talk of the Lucha Brothers leaving, and you know how that's going to affect the tag team division. I've said in the past that I don't want ABC to break up just because I think it would hurt the tag team division. But at the same time, it's not like things can't be repaired. TNA did bring in Sinner and Saint, who we haven't seen much of, but you know they are there. And so eventually, I wanted Chris Bay and Ace Austin to move into singles competition. I was hoping for that anyway. So if now is the time, I'd be upset, but I'm not going to hate it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that even if they were to split up ABC, a tag team division will be okay.
Because you could have Ace Austin go into and not even really break him, just have him go into after singles gold, have Chris Bay go after the X Division title, and Ace go after the digital media title. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Now, the Knockouts tag team division, that's a different story.
Yes.
It's just the Hardys can help the division while they're there. Yeah, that's true. I agree. They can help. All right.
And then I get real quick. Sorry. We were just talking about AJ Francis and Rich Swann. So that's the third team we just talked about other than ABC. So
yeah. Let's not forget the Good Hands. Shout out to the Good Hands. They're such an underrated tag team. We'll talk more about them as we get into the show's review.
I think it was kind of their night tonight.
It was. All right, so that concludes Explosion. Now let's kick things off with, we had the Ultimate X qualifier. It was Chris Bay versus John Skylar versus Riley Osborne. Before we get into the match, John Skylar cutting a typical promo before he starts the match. He said the X is going to be grabbed by these Good Hands. And I just want to say, like, the Good Hands are such an underrated, underappreciated tag team. They haven't won the tag titles, and they've been a tag team for, a year now? And they still have yet to win. I feel like they're always playing lackeys to someone. I think it's about time we start taking the Good Hands seriously. You know, I want them to win the tag titles. I'm pushing for them to win the tag titles. I wouldn't mind the Good Hands getting a run with those tag titles. I just feel like they're underrated and underappreciated. I think they're a great tag team. Jason Hotch alone is a fantastic wrestler.
That's the key, though. You need teams like that to make other teams look good. And whether you do or you don't put the titles on them, those teams like that are crucial to a division. You know what I mean? You need a heel team like that. Obviously, I think they do deserve a run with the titles, but again, it's only been a year, and they haven't been on TV much. And they're obviously doing something with them because, you know, they both were in singles competition tonight. So,
yeah. Joseph Boza saying, yeah, TNA has an underrated men's tag team division, but they need to start using their Knockouts tag team more. There has to be more than Spitfire and Militia. Listen, I have sound like a freaking broken record. I've talked about the Knockouts tag team division. I've mentioned it. They need to start adding more tag teams. I understand that they took a huge hit and lost many Knockouts tag teams all within the span of a year, and they have been having a hard time restocking the Knockouts tag team division. But I agree, they need more Knockouts tag teams because Spitfire Militia is going to get old pretty fast.
For all we know, that could have been one of the reasons and one of the things TNA had in mind when they partnered up with NXT, just because they have a lot of women signed in NXT that could come to TNA and form, or you know what I mean, they could compete in the tag team in the Knockouts division. So let's wait and see on that.
Io says, Io agrees with you. Use the NXT relationship to help with the knockout tag titles. I agree. We all agree. All right. So back to this qualifier match. This match was great. I liked it. I don't know about you, but I like this match. John Scott. Riley Osborne making history here by being the first WWE wrestler to enter the Ultimate X. He qualified after hitting John Skylar with the shooting star press. And I have to say, with Riley Osborne making history, is Joe Henry going to make history in NXT? As we know, on NXT, well, what a week for Chase U. Yash. Congrats to Chase U for winning the NXT tag team titles this week. But as I was saying, as we know, Joe Henry is slated to face Wes Lee and Pete Dunne, and the winner will face Ethan Page at NXT No Mercy for that TNA for the NXT World Title. TNA gave Riley Osborne the opportunity to make history. Is NXT going to give Joe Henry the opportunity to make history by being the first TNA wrestler to challenge for that NXT World Title?
The more Ethan Page, I actually thought about this kind of recently. The more Ethan Page appears in NXT, and that he said that he's going to be sticking around for a while, and then the relationship we have with it that TNA has with NXT, I think they're going to have Joe Henry win the NXT. I think Joe Henry is more likely to win the NXT title than the TNA title at this point.
Joe Henry as NXT World Champion is the only way you're gonna get me to watch NXT on a weekly basis.
And I think it's almost, because I think he's gonna go to WWE eventually. So I think that's why I think that. That's more of the reason behind it.
Joseph saying, "Oh my God, what a week for Chiefs University!
Yeah.
Shocked fans on Tuesday getting an NXT tag titles. Then 2 days later, Riley takes a field trip to TNA, wins and books another one. I think Riley has a good chance of making history. I'll tell you right now, who will be my pick. Imagine Riley showing up in Denver 2 days later as TNA X Division champion for No Mercy. That'd be interesting. We have to wait and see what happens. But congrats to Riley Osborne for making history. Hopefully, Joe Henry also makes history too."
TNA needs to get Chase U on TNA Impact, because Riley was pretty over tonight. The Chase U gimmick is very over. So, and I think it would fit in TNA as well. So, this was a really good match. Him hitting the shooting star press, which was always my favorite move. One of my favorite moves growing up. Billy Kidman used to hit it. And this looked way better than Billy Kidman's.
Io says, "I like to see Thea Hell come over."
That's a good point.
Yeah, same.
That'd be a very good one.
All right. Yeah.
I wanted to mention this because we didn't talk too much, but Kazarian was on commentary, and I liked how he kind of put everybody over a little bit. But when he was talking about John Skylar, he said he was a crafty veteran, but then he also threw up in his rental car. And he didn't like that. And I was like, that's funny. Kazarian's very funny. And I also like, and I didn't catch it, and I hope you wrote it down, or maybe someone caught it. He was talking about how Ultimate X was basically created because of him.
Yeah, he said the X Division title was stolen from him.
I don't remember that, because I think he was talking about way back in the day before I was watching, if I remember.
Oh yeah, Kazarian said he wants to be in the qualifiers to do Option C again.
Because this he's not talking about Option C, because Option C he willingly cashed in. But I'm trying to remember what I think he's talking about maybe in 2008, but I'll have to look it up for another time. But yeah, this was just very funny.
And this was great. Kazarian should do commentary more often.
Yeah.
All right, so Nic Nemeth is interviewed, and he's basically talking about his match with Josh Alexander. He said that at one point he was looking to facing Josh Alexander because, Josh Alexander is the heart and soul of TNA. He carried TNA, but now that's a different Josh Alexander. And he basically vowed to stand over Josh to prove how good he is. That was tonight's main event. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yes.
All right, so next we get a Matt Cardona in ring segment. And this segment I was like, he's basically blackmailing him on live television because Santino Marella was basically telling him to sign the contract or he's going to get prosecuted and go to jail. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I didn't like this. I didn't like Santino threatening Cardona with legal action like that.
Did you catch the part where he says that Cardona will be desirable in jail? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. Cardona's indie god gimmick that he's doing is I just like how he pointed out, like, kind of a little real life thing. He is so much more over, that he wrestles everywhere. You know what I mean? Now he's controlling his character somewhat. As you would say, he's very over in a sense.
Matt wants his indie queen back on the indie. She was basically his sensational Sherry to his macho king. Interesting. I could see that.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing because. Well, should we wait to talk about when he met with Santino again, or no?
No, let's just go ahead and talk about it. So later on in the night before the main event, we get another segment with Matt Cardona where he meets up with Santino, and he actually agrees to sign the contract. So, was I correct to hear that there's going to be a 6-person tag match?
Well, because Cardona said, he's like, hey, let's next week, let's do a 6-man, me, SDL, and a mystery partner of his versus PCO, and I forget who he said.
Zaya Brookside.
Oh, yeah, and Rhino. I'm interested to see who Cardona brings in. I'm very interested. I wonder if it's somebody from the Indies. That'd be very cool. Just because I think somebody from TNA is too. I don't think it's going to be, and I don't think it's going to be Myers. Just because he's with this, that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see who he's going to bring in. Who do you guys? Let us know in the comment section who you guys think Matt Cardona is going to bring in to be his mystery partner. And then if you super chat, we will read your questions on the air. Your answers on the air. My bad.
Yeah, I'm very interested to hear because I can't think of any. I'm trying to think of somebody he's wrestled with on the Indies, but I'm running blank on the names. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who that mystery person is. You're going to have to let me know. All right, so we get Frankie Kazarian, and he's like cutting a promo backstage, and he's interrupted by Eric Young and Steve Maclin. Now, Eric Young still has beef with Frankie Kazarian because, as you remember, Frankie Kazarian cost Eric Young a shot at the TNA World title in his home country of Canada. And not only that, Steve Maclin, he's had problems with Kaz. But after this, we get a Steve Maclin promo, and he basically name drops Josh Alexander, Joe Henry, Nic Nemeth, and Frankie Kazarian. And then he mentions Eric Young as a person who he has never competed against. And it's going to be the start of him stacking bodies. So I thought these were really good segments. What were your thoughts on these?
Well, yeah, Steve Maclin's promo after this was spectacular. And yeah, I did like this segment just because Kazarian kept constantly trying to talk shit. And at one point, Maclin was like, no, I was talking to you. When he said something, I forget what he said. But yeah, this was very good.
Yeah. Io says Rhino, PCO, and Zaya versus Cardona, Steph, and from what I read, Maclin versus EY set me up. Hell yeah, I want to see EY versus Steve Maclin. I think it'll be a really great match. All right. We get Tasha Steelz versus Gisele Shaw. This was a great match. We had extra referees out there. These refs did their job. They stopped Tasha Steelz from using a wrench. The other ref caught Tasha Steelz putting her feet on the rope. This allowed for Gisele to finally get her revenge on Tasha Steelz and got the victory over her after she hit the denouement. What were your thoughts on this?
I really thought at this point they should have just had Tasha win, just because I thought that they were trying to position her to be the one to fight, because again, she hasn't beaten Jordynne. So but Gisele winning doesn't bother me. I'm just confused where they go from here.
Yeah, because now they have to establish someone to take that title off of Jordynne Grace.
Yes.
Ios is a referee lumberjack match. All right, so we get the system, and they take out Santana backstage. And, then they come to the ring, and they start cutting a promo, and we find out that Santana still wants to compete tonight. So it's into Mike Santana versus Moose. This was a good match. Obviously, the problems between them are not over, especially after Moose was victorious after he hit the spear to Santana here. But at the end, Joe Henry came out swinging with the steel chair. And we find out that it's going to be Moose and JDC versus the Hardys next week. So what were your thoughts on this match?
They made Santana look like such a they made him go down as a fighting baby face, because he came out obviously hurt. He was fighting all the members of the system. There were at multiple times he looked like he was going to win the match. So this doesn't make him look weak at all. This was a very good match, and then at the end, obviously, Joe Henry came out and he didn't. Which I'm glad it's not going to be a match with him and Joe Henry. He said next week it's going to be Moose and JDC versus the Hardys, which that should be a fun match.
I have to agree with you. I really like the way they booked Santana in this match, because like you said, he got taken out and he went down fighting. This was basically a handicap match.
Exactly. He was visibly hurt. He was selling his ribs and his arm. And yeah, he still went in there, and I thought that multiple times in the match he was going to win. So
yeah, they made me believe he was going to overcome the odds and actually beat Moose, but the numbers proved to be too much for Santana here. All right, so Spitfire seems like they're going to be wanting another opportunity at Militia for the tag titles. And honestly, if they get another opportunity, they either win or we move on from this feud.
Yeah, I really hope they do move on. If they win, they still need to move on. If they lose, they still need to move on. Either way, it needs to be done after Emergence.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not that Spitfire isn't talented. It's not that Militia isn't talented. It's just like we talked about earlier, there's not enough tag teams here. I think that, like Ayo mentioned, we need to start borrowing tag teams from NXT.
We don't want the NXT. We don't want the Knockouts tag team division to be when it was just basically the Usos and the New Day trading the titles back and forth. We need more than 2 teams.
Spitfire versus Militia is getting pretty old. Look at the Knockouts match for Emergence, a 6-woman tag. 6-woman tag? Oh, it's Jordynne and Spitfire versus Ash and Militia for Emergence. Oh, okay.
Okay. That's fine. I like that.
So they're saving the Knockouts tag match for what? Victory Road?
I would assume so.
Unless you do it on a random episode of TNA, and then you got an NXT tag team versus the winner of the Knockouts tag title match. All right. So Jordynne Grace cuts a promo, and it seems like we're heading to another match with her and and her and Ash after this promo. She says if Ash wants to fight, she will get one. Like I mentioned earlier, I give my praises to Ash by Elegance. I think that her character work has been great. She really stepped it up, and I think that she silenced a lot of critics and haters with her match against Jordynne Grace. She even silenced me because, like I said, that was not a match I was looking forward to. I felt like that was not the Slammiversary match, and I think she put everybody wrong out there. And I definitely wouldn't mind seeing another Jordynne Grace versus Ash match. But after that, I think we should move on to another opponent.
Yeah, but then at that, because this match isn't happening in Emergence, and so the Emergence is in August. So in September's Victory Road, correct?
Yes.
And so by that point, I would hope that they would have somebody built to take the title off of Jordynne. But at that point, you would think we're heading to her versus Jordynne at Victory Road. I don't know when. What was that?
I said I could see the match happening at Victory Road.
I don't know when Jordynne's deal is up, but I don't think that she's re-signing with TNA. I don't have any sources or anything like that. But so someone has to take the title off of her. I don't think she's just going to drop the title before, you know what I mean, or walk out with it. So what if they do some sort of hardcore match? They could book Ash to win. You know what I mean? If not her, who's it? I just don't know.
I mean, she took the title off of Trinity, or as people know Trinity now, Naomi.
Yeah.
She took the title off Trinity, and then Naomi went back to WWE. I could definitely see a situation where if she's going to leave before Hard to Kill, or if she leaves after Hard to Kill, she could definitely drop the title at Hard to Kill and then, go to WWE. But the question is she going to hold the belt all the way to Hard to Kill, or she's going to drop it at Bound for Glory? I don't think she will keep the belt towards Bound for Glory. I definitely do see that happening. But if she's going to keep it to Bound for Glory, I think you take it off of her at Bound for Glory.
Hopefully they do a knockouts Bound for Glory tournament. I don't think they've ever done that. That'd be cool. Incorporate some of the women from NXT.
Io says Grace is still with TNA till mid-January. Okay, so depending on what they have planned, she'll either drop the belt at Bound for Glory or she'll hold on to it till Hard to Kill. But honestly, look, I feel like Jordynne Grace runs into the problem of she's beaten everybody in the division. Who realistically is left to face her?
That's a good point. But at the same time, I think that they're trying to establish her as one of I want to look up the reign. I'm very curious to see how many days she's at.
All right.
But keep going.
So next up, the second Ultimate X qualifier is Ace Austin versus Jason Hotch versus Rich Swann. In all honesty here, they're running out of ideas for her. Yeah, they are. She has to drop the title at Bound for Glory.
Unless she's going to go into the title. I mean, unless she's going to go into NXT with the title, get her win back against Roxanne, have both titles. Roxanne goes to the main roster, and then someone from TNA is going to have to go over there and win the title. You know what I mean? That's the only idea I can think of.
Okay, Bert. All right.
Yeah. No, keep going.
This Ultimate X qualifier was actually really good. I ain't even mad Jason Hotch won. I agree with Io. Jason Hotch is very underrated and he's underappreciated. I think he's a phenomenal talent. And we really got to see what Jason Hotch can do here. I think a lot of people forget Jason Hotch won Gut Check, no? He won gut check.
I did not know that.
Wait, did he win gut check or was he runner up? He was in gut check though. Yeah, he won the 2022 gut check tryout to earn an Impact Wrestling contract. Yeah, a lot of people forget that. And he's very, very talented. But I feel like he's just underappreciated here and underrated. So I'm really glad he had a chance to shine in this match and that he won. Hotch won gut check. Yeah, thank you. Bound for Glory. Yeah, I think she loses there too. So really happy for Jason Hotch and excited to see what he does in this Ultimate X match. Will he win an opportunity at the X Division title? I don't know, but I'm very, very happy that he won. Him and Jack Price 2022 gut check. And it's crazy. We don't see much of Jack Price, but we see a lot of Jason Hotch.
I wrote match of the night after this match, but that unfortunately I saw in the main event because that kind of was the match of the night. But this was really good stuff. Like AJ Francis on commentary was hilarious. Especially because I had said earlier in the night, Ray Wall and Hannah Fan are very underrated as a team. And when AJ Francis got out there, Hannah Fan was obviously upset because anytime a heel comes out there on commentary, he's always going to agree with Ray Wall, and they're always going to gang up on him. So it was very funny.
Oh yeah, definitely, I agree.
And Ace Austin looked really good. It was similar to the previous match with Santana where they gave him a lot. They gave Ace Austin a lot, and so like the way that Hotch won with a roll up was perfect. I'm glad one of the good hands won, and again one of them will be in this match because like you pointed out, they haven't won any titles, but they're always very close. They're always near the title scene, and that's good.
Yeah, so I'm really happy for Jason Hotch. All right, so after this is when we get the second Cardona segment, but we talked about that, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the main event, which is the TNA World Title match, Nic Nemeth versus Josh Alexander. Holy shit, pardon my language. This was match of the night, if you ask me.
I'll second that and say holy shit as well. This was a very good match. And perfect utilization of the time limit draw. And then especially you had Nic Nemeth asking for more time. Josh Alexander, I can't think of a time. Well, it's probably happened more times recently than I can think of right now. But the way that he's become a great heel so quickly, him rolling out of the ring, you know what I mean, and not giving the fans what they want. But then Nemeth dragging him back in the ring, him kicking him, giving him a low blow, and then wanting him to start the match and get from right there, and the ref refusing. This was very good. And then we found out they're going to have an Iron Man match at Emergence, which that's awesome because I like how that they're built. The card will be built around that. That's going to be your one big match. And everything else will be, maybe fun tag matches like we heard with the 6-person tag with SDL and with Cardona. Well, that's not an Emergence, never mind. But you know what I mean?
I was going to say, it's a 1-hour Iron Man match, so the Emergence card has to be short to be able to compensate for that.
Well, three. If it's a 3-hour card, yeah, you know what I mean. They give you 7 matches. You could do 5 matches in 2 hours. That's a normal. They do that on TV in 84 minutes, so getting 120, they should be able to do that.
But this was a great match. Absolutely love the time limit draw. There's no way this feud is over. I definitely do see another match down the road, depending on how the Iron Man match plays out. you could possibly get a third match, but that I cannot wait for that Iron Man match. That's going to be a fantastic match.
I know. I always hate when somebody's doing a 30-minute Iron Man match. It's so stupid. Like, an Iron Man match is not my favorite match. Watching somebody wrestle 60 minutes is kind of a lot. I think 40, 35, 45 is enough. But no, this should be good, and I honestly do think Josh will win, which, then at that point, we can, if it comes to that, we can talk about Nemeth title reign and what we think about it, give it kind of a grade. But yeah, I don't see Josh not winning.
Yeah, I don't know how that Iron Man match is going to play out. I really don't, but we have to wait and see. I would not be surprised if it's a tie towards the very end. I feel like it's gonna come down to the wire for that match.
They also too, Joe Henry could cost Josh the match. Mm-hmm. So, there's always that. They haven't really had much interaction since since Josh turned on him.
That's true. They haven't. So definitely can't wait to see. But overall, this was a fantastic show. Usually heels win Iron matches more. Okay.
Well, yeah, okay. That's true. Just the big one in my head is when Shawn beat Brett. And I think I don't know who you want to call the babyface. You could technically call them both babyfaces in that match at that point in their career, but I don't know.
Tiana beat Jordynne in the first ever 30-minute Iron Woman match.
Okay, and was Tiana the heel?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right, but you got anything you want to say as we get ready to wrap up?
Yeah, okay. It's funny. I want to just kind of talk a little bit about Jordynne. I was looking it up. Okay. I would point out that she is through TNA through mid-January. She's currently at 211 days as champion. The record is 377 held by Taya Valkyrie. She's not going to get to that even if she holds the title through January. So it's not like I don't think there's any reason that they would keep the title on her through January. So honestly, I think it's going to be either Ash or Gisele, because I just don't know how they put it on Tasha at this point after having her lose tonight. And I'm not saying it's because of one loss. One loss doesn't matter. But it's just because it seems like now they're going with Gisele, because this was like kind of the big match, because the rest were surrounding the ring. Tasha couldn't cheat. So Gisele, you know what I mean? So and then again we talk about how Ash looked the best she looked in TNA in that match. She attacked everyone last week, kind of looked like, a dangerous heel. So I could see her winning more than I could before, especially if she's going to get a second match. And Victory Road would be in September. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So in terms of Jordynne Grace, she said 374. That would put her. That would be a year. And
no. Jordynne is at 211 right now, and the record is 377 held by Taya Valkyrie for the longest reigning champion. I was saying, even if Jordynne held it all the way to January, she wouldn't be close to 377. That's just what I'm thinking.
I think she'd be a little close, because she would hit at the 1 year mark at Hard to Kill. And then depending on when Hard to Kill is, I could see her getting close, but I don't think she'll break the record.
Yeah. So
look, I like Jordynne Grace. I do. But I just feel like, what more can she do? She's practically beating everybody. I think she needs to drop the title at Bound for Glory.
And then, yeah, she'll obviously, I'm assuming she will not I think she's one of the people that WWE is most interested in. So,
yeah.
And with that being said, also, not everybody's gonna work out in WWE. Not but anybody's gonna work out in any company. But TNA should definitely have their eyes open for a lot of the talent in NXT. That, you know what I mean? WWE, just like any company, makes cuts, and that's the talent that TNA should have their eyes on, especially right now. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of there's a lot of potential in NXT, and it's not like they can fit everybody on the roster. You know what I mean? And like I said, not everyone's gonna make it there or work out there at this time. So TNA should always be looking at talent like that, especially for the Knockouts division. Jordynne's going to be leaving. Well, she might be leaving, so.
I'm still waiting for Trouble Elite to come back to TNA.
Especially, it's funny you brought back people coming back. And we talk about the Hall of Fame. I think it'd be very cool to bring Lashley back. Lashley's definitely a TNA Hall of Famer. He had a great TNA run, especially the second time. Jeez, I would love MVP and him to come back. Bring Shelton Benjamin as well. But it'd be very cool to see Lashley come back, especially since we're getting close to Hall of Fame time.
Grace is the second most defenses right now. She's been there for 8 years. Definitely helped TNA to where it is now. No, that's true. She did. So
that she, like if it being like in baseball, like the Hall of Fame, she would definitely retire with a TNA jersey, I would think at this point.
Yeah. All right, Brett. Any more comments or last remarks as we get ready to sign off?
No, I just think what a time to sign up for TNA Plus, right? Just because you get all the specials and you're getting an Iron Man match. That and if anything, tonight's match was very. Josh, for a while, was just controlling that match, but Nemeth, being the veteran that he is, was able to pull out some some offense. But this was really good, so I can't wait for the rematch.
Same. I cannot wait. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. It's going to be great. I can't wait for Emergence.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, we do have an announcement for you guys just before we sign off here. A Skip, SmackDown, and Rampage. We're getting an Iron Man and an Ultimate X in 2 weeks. Yeah, no, he does have a point. We do have an announcement. Next week, we will not be doing the show. I will be attending Power Morphicon here in Pasadena. I will be visiting the filming locations on Thursday. I don't know what time I'm coming back, so I think it's going to be really fun. If you are a big Power Rangers fan and you want to check out some of my stuff that I'm going to be uploading to my channel, make sure you subscribe to Rangers of Wrestling. I will be covering Power Morphicon this next weekend. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever we go live and whenever Body Slam goes live. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks for the Go Home Show to Emergence. Bye.